Happy Monday, guys. Mrs. Sloberger here. I just want to give you a quick overview of your assignment today that you're going to be working on for math. So it is in Seesaw. It's titled Adding Decimals, if you see it here. I know that we've been working on this in class. Remember, the most important thing that we need to remember to do is making sure that we line up those decimal points. I know you're working at home, which means you probably don't have grid paper. So it is super important that you're having nice, neat, organized work so that those decimal points can be lined up to get you the correct answer. Because remember, like we always say, if you move the decimal point even just one spot, it makes a totally different number. Now I'm going to go ahead and open this up because I do want to show you just a few things before you get working today. So I'm going to zoom in so you can see this. There are 9 problems. Notice that they are all written horizontally, just like we had been doing in class. Remember, we would write them in your book horizontally, and then we would go ahead and rewrite them vertically on our grid paper, making sure our decimal points are lined up. There we go. So when you're working today, if you do your work on a dry erase board, that's totally fine. But remember on Seesaw, then you can take pictures and insert them here. Do that for me. Or if you can use the drawing tool to show your work, that would be good too. Now, one thing I want to point out to you on a few of these, like if I get to letter D here, it says 10 plus 0.7. And I know we talked about this in class, but remember some numbers, when you look at them, they don't have a decimal point. So the number 10 does not have a decimal point. But remember, I told you that every single number has an invisible decimal point, and that sometimes whoever wrote the number just didn't put it there. So 10 does have a decimal point. It's just invisible. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite this problem real quick. Now remember, I'm just drawing with my mouse, so my handwriting is not going to be the best. But here's our problem, 10 plus 0 and 7/10. Okay. Now, remember, we said 10 has an invisible decimal point, and every number has an invisible decimal point right after it. So I'm going to go ahead and add that in, and then remember, I can put a 0 behind it as well, because 10.0 is equivalent or is equal to just the number 10. So now I have my math problem. I'm going to go ahead and stack them, lining up my decimal points. Remember, the decimal points are the most important thing here. We have to make sure that they're lined up right on top of each other. And just like I told you in class, a lot of times I'll go ahead and put the decimal point in my answer before I even start adding. Because as long as they're lined up, I know exactly where it's going to go. So now I'm ready to add. 0 plus 7 is 7. 0 plus 0 is 0. And 1 plus nothing is 1. So my answer would be 10 and 7/10. Okay? So remember, guys, making sure you line up the decimal point. The decimal point has to be lined up. Make sure that if you see a number without a decimal point, here's another one on letter F, the number 18. Remember that you put the decimal point at the end, and you can then add in zeros to fill in those gaps if you need to. Be careful when you're adding, making sure if you need to regroup, that you do that. So good luck today. Thank you for working hard, guys. I know you can do this. When you come back into the classroom this week, we're going to work more with subtracting decimals. So keep working. We've got this, and I will see you later this week. Bye-bye.